For those patiently waiting for the upcoming Cyberpunk 2077 game, a character they should familiarise themselves with is the legendary rocker boy Johnny Silverhand. Johnny was one of the main personalities from the Cyberpunk 2020 sourcebooks, so it may come as no surprise that references were made to Johnny Silverhand and his band, the Samurai, in the Cyberpunk 2077 E3 and Gamescom demos. Whether it was music with Johnny's lyrics from the front cover of the Cyberpunk 2020 rulebook, the word samurai appearing prominently on V's jacket alongside an Oni-style face, or someone visibly perusing one of his albums, Mr. Silverhand always makes an impact. So, who is Johnny Silverhand? Johnny is known in Night City as a famous and idealistic singer with his signature silver chrome cyber arm. The Rocker Boys are a group of rebellious musicians whose music focuses around revolt and a distaste for authority. Silverhand's discography includes notable hits such as Chippin In and Never Fade Away, which are songs the player will hear while travelling around Night City in 2077. They offer a melodic reminder to the historic troubles that have plagued Night City. Other songs from his Cool Metal Fire album include Dancing with My Axe, The City and Flashing Lights. Given the time frame from 2020 to 2077, it might seem nonsensical at first to think that Johnny will appear as a character one can physically interact with in the game. Another source of information that may cast doubt on Johnny's appearance was the Cyberpunk 2020 guidebook Firestorm. Firestorm was an attempt to bridge the differences between the second and third edition Cyberpunk rules. Set in 2024, Arasaka mobilized the Japanese Defense Force to take on Militech and the American military. Waves of cyberviruses corrupt databases worldwide, leaving the isolated Arasaka Towers arcology in Night City the last viable data storage mainframe in the world. Militech gathers together a dream team consisting of the best operatives Cyberpunk has to offer, including Johnny Silverhand. Their mission to take out Arasaka's arcology with a nuclear demolition charge. During the mission, the team finds out that Alt Cunningham, Johnny Silverhand's girlfriend, who was captured by Arasaka earlier and turned into a digital ghost, is trapped inside the mainframe. Of course, Johnny won't let Alt die a second time, so the team attempts to rescue her. Johnny Silverhand meets his end at the hands of Arasaka's cyborg assassin, Adam Smasher. His death gave Spider Murphy the opportunity to break Alt into a series of data packets and then downloads her into the net. Morgan Blackhand then takes on Adam Smasher atop Arasaka Towers while the rest of the team is evacuated. The outcome of the duel is unknown because the nuclear demolition charges the team deployed sets off the self-destruct bomb Arasaka had placed in its data core. This destroyed most of Night City and contaminated the ruins with lethal fallout. While Johnny may now rest in peace, remember Cyberpunk 2077 is CDPR's version of Cyberpunk and not a direct sequel to Cyberpunk 2020. In CDPR's narrative and world building, Johnny Silverhand could be a contemporary character rather than a historical figure. Johnny Silverhand rose to prominence in the Cyberpunk 2020 fanbase as the protagonist in the introductory scenario Never Fade Away, that gave new players an opportunity to learn how to play the game. Covering events before Firestorm, Johnny is involved in a deadly cat-and-mouse game with Arasaka. The story begins in the Atlantis bar, also the name of the bar CDPR set up at Gamescom, and the player needs to help Johnny save his girlfriend Alt. Alt was a wizard-class netrunner and the person who developed Soulkiller. Soulkiller is a program that uses an advanced matrix recorder to copy the entire personality of an intruder, storing it in a huge database. It then wipes the original personality away, leaving a mindless husk that eventually dies. Arasaka wanted to acquire Soul Killer and so kidnapped Alt. During the Never Fade Away scenario, the Soul Killer is used on Alt, but her digital ghost survives in the net. Given that passage of time works differently for a digital ghost, perhaps a netrunner may find her in Cyberpunk 2077, which would be an interesting experience if CDPR decide to go down that route.